Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have our first quarterfinal match of the day. It's going to be Hoist the Colors versus Guile Esports. In our first quarterfinal, this is going to be a best of three. Again, Gems joining me for this one. And we're already in the draft for the game. Guile Esports looking exceptionally strong. And our Shimby and Gideon will be the bans.
Yeah, pretty obvious bans that we're seeing, but that does leave the Wraith. We see Hoist the Colors straight away pick it. But then that is responded by Guile taking this Aurora, which we haven't actually seen yet, and that Rampage. Aurora, not been seen, was banned in the previous match we saw today. Very strong hero, lines up incredibly well with Gideon. Same sort of situation as Gideon with the AoE sort of stun. However, there are cards that can play around that. We're going to see the sort of the group stasis we've seen in the past, can negate Aurora ults, and if we can see that come out here from Hoist the Colors, I think with a Wraith, and a Richter here. I'm hoping it's the Richter jungle. We've been seeing a lot of Richter support from the NA guys. He's very popular as a jungler over on the EU scene, and incredibly strong clear with incredibly strong gank as well, and can actually keep pace with Rampage throughout the early game and even fight toe-to-toe pretty well.
I do realize that the teams are the wrong way around for you guys here, so we'll try to get that fixed as soon as possible. Again, thanks to our wonderful admin team, Narendra at the head of that one. You guys are doing a great job. Somehow we got the wrong teams for this one as well right off the bat, so sorry for that. But in any case, still going through this draft, Richter and Grux picked up for Hoist the Colors. Should be a pretty strong combination with the Wraith. I know that the Oracle loves to play that combo up with the Richter.
Yeah, it does. It does work pretty well. Also, Grux has come out here as well. Interesting to see what sort of mid laner Guile go for. With Gideon being banned, most likely going to be the Bellica or the Gadget. Both very strong picks. Bellica still being left open. They might want to take that away here from Hoist the Colors, which I'd be pretty happy with. Or they can go straight with the Gadget, which is big AoE, works really well with the Aurora.
Still going through our draft.
Yeah.
Lots of time used there by Hoist the Colors trying to pick up their heroes, which is a little bit strange to me. Do have a Gadget out from Guile Esports though. Guile actually had an exceptional performance in the last PCL, closing it out against Sync twice in the final, and it was what some would believe a standout and a breakout performance from them. So I'm quite excited to see what we get here, especially from Idic. He's kind of come into his own now as a jungler. Was kind of juggled around a couple of teams before, but has kind of found his place now in Guile.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty well. And there is the phase support, first one of the day. Can work really well with Rampage right now. Rampage doesn't have the jump. However, if you can speed boost that guy up, if he can constantly apply that slow now that he's got on his right click, with that auto attack buff steroid on his E, that is a lot of damage. And Crunch, oh boy, guys, if Jack was here, he'd be so happy right now. With the improvement on his animations, Crunch is now a powerhouse hero. He can output so much damage right now at such a great pace. Because of the improved animations, he can weave in auto attacks even faster than before, which actually sends his overall DPS up, which is, we're going to see how well he does this game, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Absolutely. Fatal Barrage, the jungler for Hoist the Colors. We'll see if he's the one to pick up the Crunch, or if it's going to be what has been a little bit more popular as of late, and could be interesting, the Shurik _no_ Crunch offlane.
I suspect it will be offlane Crunch. You don't particularly want to stick Grux or Richter in that offlane, so Crunch has probably got the safest survivability in that lane. He can dash out, whereas Grux, with the change to his E, not really a dash, more like a Crunch knock-up, like the uppercut knock-up from Crunch. So I really think it will be Crunch offlane.
All right, well, with that being said, we do have our draft complete here. Gems, this is the first time that I'm asking you today, but who do you think is going to come out on top of this one?
I don't know. I'd want to see the Crunch do well. I want to see it take off just because it's a hero for a long time hasn't really been doing well. Just for the fact that there's a crunch on Hoist the Colors, I'm going to say Hoist the Colors.
All right, we do have a Geronimo Jack fan here, it would seem. I'm still going to have to go with Guile. I think they've just got a much stronger composition and a pretty strong team as well. But with that being said, we'll get into our first quarterfinal of the day, starting it up in 3, 2, 1, go. And hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is once again time to get into crunch time. No pun intended. For the PCL quarterfinal action coming up for you guys on the blue side. We've got Azzy playing the Gadget. Ghost will be hanging around as a Grimmix. Regal playing the Aurora. We've got Lucer. He's going to be handling the Phase. And finally, the Doc playing the Rampage.
Yeah, and on the Hoist the Colors side, we see Fatal Barrage on that Grux, Ninja on the Bellica, Shurik on that Crunch, the Oracle on the Richter, and Angel Inferno on that Wraith. I'm going to be interested to see if we see two in the mid lane coming out here from both sides, or if it's only going to be one side.
This minion got lost. Angel Inferno was kind of like looking at him for a while. He got lost in that lane. It was almost as if the Wraith had used Get Back onto a minion, but I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. So actually, a nice freezing advantage here for Angel Inferno as the ranged minion shows up to lane a little bit later. I don't know if that was intended or not, but still an advantage, I guess.
Yeah, it does end up with the Oracle coming to lane a little bit late, though. So Regal's going to actually get a little bit of XP there, potentially hit level 2. Whereas what you'd really like to do is pretty much negate all possible XP from the soft laner, really try and stop them from gaining any level advantage as you can, which you can do if you have the Taskmasters, which you see in the early stages of the game, if you get that sort of freeze. And we are seeing it right now. Regal's really going to struggle they decided to push instead. So they didn't get that freeze that they wanted.
Yeah, they decided not to. One thing that I am seeing on the map, however, though, is that Ghost and Lucer have already taken advantage of this Bellic in the mid lane. Gonna make it really difficult for Ninja to get anything done here. And that's just kind of rough. You can see that they immediately forced her through the fog while throwing out the displacement blast, and they're already going into the jungle trying to take an advantage out of this duo mid.
Yeah, they're going to want to try to push in, try and go into the jungle, and we might even see Idok already here going in, trying to punish Fatal going on his green here.
Yeah, they're just making sure that he never gets to his green. He's even going to start up here knowing that his duo mid is going to easily be able to help him out if he needs to. Seismic Assault goes out on the Lucer, but that's already down now. That could be bad news. Berries for Fatal Barrage. The Oracle is going to come and get the Whiplash onto Idok, but it's not really the damage that he wants, not really onto the hero that he wants either, but it could be a 3-man surround inside the jungle. Idok getting a nice pull from Lucer. Seismic Assault hits onto 2. Void Bomb is there, but nobody's died just yet. They're still going to be sniping on the Idok, but the knock is not going to lead to any doors opening for HTC as nobody dies on the mid lane or in the jungle.
Yeah, high cooldowns, low mana pools. Unless you can single target one person out early, right at the beginning of the fight and delete them, ends up being this sort of awkward stalemate as we saw because of phase existing. As a hero, was able to pull out multiple members, keep them alive with that passive regen, and it made the fight pretty difficult for anyone to die.
It's been a long time since anybody said that, just because of FaZe existing as a hero. Obviously excellent for getting the heroes out of those tough situations, and should be good for Ghost here, making sure that he continues to have mana for his GTFOs when they come through. But Shurik is going to start to get aggressive onto this lane, coming in from the off lane, leaving Azzy Bear kind of on his own over there, which may or may not be a good idea, but still doesn't end up getting anything, which is so difficult to do on the mid lane with that phase being there.
Yeah, he's already got that Possessed Spritekin online as well. Straight first buy with the 3 points in Vitality into Possessed Spritekin on that crunch. He's going to be pretty happy to start taking sort of early game fights right now. He can regen pretty well with that card. And it makes his laning a lot easier now.
No, you just cannot allow Regal to do that. Okay, he uses the Glacial Charge a little bit before the get back actually comes through from the race, so that will keep Angel Inferno safe for a little bit longer. But Regal is not a guy that you want to give any kind of opportunity to on any hero. This guy is one of the most dangerous offlaners in the game, and definitely showed it in the last PCL. My game seems to have frozen up a little bit. Eventually we do get it to unfreeze though, which is nice. Thanks, Aurora.
We are seeing the fight here from Shurk on this crunch. This is the power of that possessed strike, and he can now take this fight. Really pushes Azzy out from being able to really do much from that position, and he's still pretty safe. Can go back, even though there are people in his jungle trying to take that black buff. I feel like Shurk's going to be okay for as long as he doesn't overextend here in this section.
So, do you think with the presence of the black buff and also the prevalence of the Fangtooth, do you think that we're going to see more duo mids coming out?
Yeah, I think duo mid will become more common. What I'd really like to see is 4 in the mid lane, so 2 on either
Oh
side.
my gosh, please no.
Purely because it sets up the 1v1 lanes. I was talking about earlier. You end up with having sort of standard lanes from other games, so you end up 2v2s in mid, 1v1s on either other sides of the map, and you end up with a lot more fun skirmishes and fights happening, which
By
is
fun
a
skirmishes,
lot more.
he means death balls, guys. Please stop listening.
Stop listening. No, I mean like 2v2 fights, not like 5 men rotating. Like you end up with a 2v1 or nicer ganking paths for the junglers and nicer rotations going into Fangtooth or into the enemy jungle for invades, which can be a lot more interesting to watch.
I'm still very interested in this offlane for HTC. Azzybear has generally been one of the prolific players on the scene, especially for Guile. And if I even think back to his old team, One More Wave, he was really the fulcrum for his team as well, kind of being the hit or miss if they would win games or not. They were generally aiming to get him farmed up. So if Shur can, shut Azzy down a little bit here, I think HTC may stand a better chance to win this one out.
Yeah, they might too. But I do want to see how this crunch sort of scales in the match. His power output is probably one of the highest from the fighters at the moment. However, he does end up expending quite a bit of mana doing so. So he has to be smart about how he controls it and when he engages on these matches.
Crowd coming out into the Oracle. They're going to get the Hoarfrost and a Rock there onto the Oracle. Idek taking some damage from the tower, but it hasn't really been too much of an effect just yet. Regal underneath the tower also getting pulled in here, but the minions start to tank up the damage, and that's going to allow Regal to get out of dodge and get himself out of danger.
It does keep him safe. It is still 0 on the board. Gold is still incredibly equal. 30,000 apiece, basically, with only about 400 lead here on one side. Not much that can really sort of differentiate a lead here. This is the power of Grim in mid lane, though. He has got that GTFO online, and he will be consistently using that on cooldown, which is one of the best things you do about Grim mid. You just have a really low cooldown ultimate, can consistently poke out the opposing mid lane, and then you can go and look for fights.
Oh, Angel Inferno, one hit from dying. Gets the get back in the nick of time to make sure that Regal gets out of there. Man, this guy really needs some kind of support, but the Oracle has been extremely aggressive on the map. You see him only at level 3 here, but he's been really forced to get aggressive on the enemy duo.
Yeah, he has been. It's been pretty rough for him.
Oh, beautiful displacement by Ghost, and a beautiful shield as well. Azzybear dropping down the Tesla Dome, forcing HTC to either commit or get out, and it's going to split their team. Ghost still having some damage done to him, but the healing from Lucer is more than enough. Now Shur caught between a rock and a hard place, and he might have another rock thrown in there as well by Idek. The Oracle will get into the fight. Idek's still going to have some help with the hat, and Shurk will be the first one to fall in this fight. Seismic Assault comes in from the side from Ninja. Can Guile Esports find anything else, or do they just want to go for Fangtooth? They might just decide to go on to that one with Idek regen all the way up to full. And 4 members there. HTC will have to lick their wounds going back to the base as the first Fangtooth of the game will most likely be taken by Guile here.
Yeah, it looked like Shurik was a little bit too deep right there in that fight, but the peeling coming out here from that phase from Luzer was phenomenal. He wasn't able to do anything. Shurik, you could see him trying to jump onto that Grim. But the pullback, the root, the blind just kept Shurik away from being able to get that damage output that we see Crunch really strong for.
And you can really start to see the danger of Guile Esports here. They have some of the most prolific players in each position on the Paragon scene here. Maybe not your Reborns as you're generally used to seeing, and a lot of people think they have been the best for a while. I think that the torch has kind of been passed over, and there's been a room for a lot of new blood on the scene, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. Idek, Lucer, Regal, just an extremely good core, and then you throw in Azzybear, who's been one of the best mids for a while, or at least one of the better ones. Guile Esports have really put together a team that can obviously compete with the best of the best, showing last time around that they could beat Thing twice, and they're definitely showing their poise against HTC here.
Yeah, they have been. It does look like everyone is sort of grouping up around this sort of mid lane. However, Shurik isn't a part of this. He's still sitting in the off lane. And it's going to be a 4v4 here in the mid.
Absolutely trying to contest this tier 1 tower. They're going to lose out on their minion wave, which will make this push substantially slower, which will also give Shurik some time to get the tier 1 tower in the left lane down. Maybe Guile Esports just decide to take some aggression inside the jungle, steal some away from
Shurik
HTC.
goes for the kill in the 1v1 here.
Oh, he's underneath the tower too. Has a hat. Can Azzybear keep himself alive? The tower starts to get involved, and Azzybear still working with his cooldowns here. Gets a little bit aggressive to Shurik, but he misses the sticky bomb. That's probably going to make it so that Shurik gets out of this fight, especially with his very large mana pool. Mana Reactor also going pretty well for him. Gets another sticky mine. Not going to take him down just yet, though, and he will actually be able to get out for now. Going to go into the jungle to see if any more aggression comes out from Guile, though. They're still taking control of it from HTC.
Shurik, it was looking like a good fight at the beginning. I mean, he did tower dive, managed to get a lot of damage output onto Azzy, but not enough. Possessed striking on both of them mean that they just sit there regenning a lot of it. Azzy's already nearly full health.
Oh, Ghost looking for a displacement blast. Actually gets a shield out, and the rock goes on to Ninja. There's no saving the Belka there, and it's an easy take. Oracle throws out the skewer, but the crowd system is going to come out in return. He's going to get stunned on the backside of this one, which is just a zoning tool for Guile Esports. They'll probably be able to take down the turret here, especially with the Fangtooth buff that they already got.
Yeah, the Fangtooth is actually spawning shortly as well, so this nice little push here is going to allow Guile to just go back, spend some of this gold they've accumulated. You can already see, look at that lead that they have right now. It is nearly 20,000. Oh God,
I mean, the last time we looked, it was pretty close for each team, and now, as you say, it's almost a 20,000 lead for Guile, and this lead has almost come up out of nowhere. Just a couple fights, a couple towers taken, and a Fangtooth, and already it's a large lead for Guile.
Huge. It makes it really difficult for any sort of comeback right
now. Ninja will get hit by the energy lens from Lucer, and Idek will be forced out by Shurik. Is there going to be more of a fight here? Shurik wants to go for it. Definitely the bull rusher for his team. The hat's going to go on his head, and Lucer will be able to eventually take him down with the energy lance. This is some good grouping up from Guile. Can HTC take advantage of it? The Oracle's getting taken down quite low. Fatal Barrage will be the second one to fall here. Ninja's way too far in as well. The Hoarfrost comes out, and it's going to catch him way out of position. This will most likely open up the second Fangtooth, that is, of the game for Guile Esports, again taking advantage of the situation and making sure that HTC can't get anything in these fights.
Yeah, look, the lead is just growing and growing. Fangtooth is one of those things where you can be okay giving up like the second one, but after a point in time, that is gonna start really hurting later on, especially when they start getting to the third, the fourth, and when they get that fifth, it's just pretty much game over if they manage to get all five. But giving up one or the second one, probably the least painful one they can give up.
Fatal, please. Regal's right next to you, man. You gotta be sniffing this one out. The smash and grab comes through. Aurora's right there. He's not gonna run through the Hoarfrost, but that's just keeping him in place for even longer. Gets a knockup. Fatal Barrage is not really in a good place at all. That's also gonna lead to Guile Esports taking another green buff away from HTC. They've pretty much taken a rental property inside the jungle, and they've turned it into a full-blown ownership right now. Guile Esports taking advantage of both jungles on the map.
Yeah, they've now taken control. They are denying so many resources here from Hoist the Colors. It's a shame this Crunch has just not been able to have a great impact throughout this game. He's got that Possessed Striking, the Flame of Zetching, and Vital Warriors to help him survive, but with such a big deficit, he isn't doing enough damage to take out anyone. There's so much regen coming out here. Lucer is keeping Ghost alive for so long in these fights that Shurik really can't do much about it.
Yeah, it's just looking so tough for HTC. Shirk was really the one in this game who had to have a good one. He was doing all right against Azzy to start, but then he started trying to get involved in a couple of other fights, started getting surrounded, and now we're kind of at the stage of the game where it's difficult for him to have as much impact in these fights. He starts to go for Lucer here, but can he even take down a FaZe? I don't even think that Guile Esports are going to care too much. The root comes through, Shirk's still trying to do the damage, but Ghost is ready to just go right into his face, gets the displacement blast. GTFO will be queued up here and used, leading Shirk to have to get even further away from this one.
There is another tier 1 going down here inside of Guile. What I'd really like to see Guile now is either look for a fight in the jungle, but when these green or black buffs come up, or just sit and wait around for this next Fangtooth. Force a fight. They have such a commanding lead. They can just wait around for Fangtooth or go for the Prime and constantly look for fights around that.
Oh, Regal again with the Shadow Plane buff. It seems like he keeps on picking these up. Kraus has him out onto 2. The Hoarfrost catches out Fatal Barrage, and Angel Inferno comes in to try to do anything, but there's just nothing for him at all. Meanwhile, Ghost is still pushing in on the left lane. The rest of his team is going to show up. Shirk with a nice forward crunch to get out of there, but the rest of his team really needs to come up big in defending this one. They're going to get a 4-man stand over at the inhib, which will cause Guile just to back off after they've already taken down the jump pads.
Yeah, jump pad's gone. Fangtooth is spawning. Will be the 3rd one now. And this will just start giving more and more power. This is the snowball we've been watching. 3 Fangtooths pre-20 minutes. I don't think Hoist can allow this just to keep happening.
Well, they can't, but what exactly can they do about it? They've got a full 5-man stack on the Fangtooth. If they run in, it's going to lead to a hell of a lot of death. Flameazek comes through. Everything goes on to Shirk. He's nearly bugged out trying to get out of here. Nice 3-man skewer from the Oracle, but it's just way too little. Too late. Tesla Dome dropped down by Azzy. The Oracle is bugged out to death here. Get back is going to be used onto the Idic Rampage, but man, if these heroes don't blow up, it's a 4-for-1 with so many heroes being bugged out. But Guile Esports are not. They're going to continue to keep these lanes pushed in, and they look to get the left lane inhibitor.
Yep, the perfect inhibitor to grab before setting up for the Prime. It's the furthest away. Longest time taken to travel across the map to get to the Prime so that you can push and force a person to sit there and deal with it, and then have to take the worst possible route to get to Prime. Again, setting up a nice 4v5 fight, which is exactly what Guile will want to do. They were now set up for this Prime. They have such a commanding lead still. It's probably the biggest lead we've been seeing all game. Just look at this. 90,000 to 55,000 gold. 12-0-31. 12-0-31 is just, I don't know. I mean, it's either that or we have a gold buff or a gold buff sort of issue on Wraith, I think, maybe. Do we have the spectator bug and it's not registering the gold?
Let's try to fix them, all right? Let's try to get these spectator bugs out of here. We'll pause the game real quick, see if we can get these things figured out. We are at, let's see. If you can get to 1850 for me, and then we'll try to get this started back up.
Okay.
1850 on the timeline, that is.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to look at the actual in-game time. So let's start it back up in 3, 2, 1, go. Again, apologies for that, guys, but we're just trying to work with the replay system as best as we can. We're going to set up another OP here. This time it's going to be Guile Esports taking it, and again, it's just so difficult for HTC to try to contest this at all. Regal keeps Ninja away with the Hoarfrost. He's going to go right back into the OP, which is nearly down at this point. Flameazek used, and the OP goes the way of Guile Esports. Not very surprising at all. Throwing the rock, missing Angel Inferno, who has used the surprise to try to get away. Does work for him this time around, but the OP buff and 3 Fangtooths are still on Guile Esports.
Okay, so the deficit wasn't as bad as we were seeing before. There was an extra 10k gold on the side of Hoist the Colors. However, it's still
really bad.
Still really bad overall. I mean, 35,000 is just insane in terms of points spent just purely on attribute points. That is a huge amount. Makes fights very, very difficult, and we can just see it right now. Unless by some miracle they manage to take out one of these 5 guys here, quickly. I don't think this is going any other way apart from Guile Esports.
Regal goes in looking for an excellent cryo, gets it out on the 2, looking to get a Hoarfrost on top of it as well. Lucer's going to help out with the energy lance. Hoarfrost a little bit off the mark, but they don't really need it. They managed to take down the inhib anyway. Oh my god, you've got to be kidding me. Ghost comes in with the GTFO and pulls out the Oracle right in the middle of his own base. That's got to be a whole lot of hurt for him going in there. And you gotta feel for this guy. He tries so hard in his matches, tries to help his team so much, but in the end, he's just not really able to do all that much. Sure, it comes in, going to the backside, look like he's still bugged out. Lucer will help protect Ghost, and with another minion wave coming through, it's probably gonna end up being Guile all the way, taking this one to the end and getting the 1-0 series lead over Hoist the Colors.
Incredibly clean game here from Guile Esports. 15 0, 35, 0 deaths. Perfectly executed game. They managed to hold on to most of their towers as well. I mean, they played phenomenal. Let's be honest. They controlled the match and finished it in pre-20 minutes.
So guys, another game going to Guile, and I would like to get our next match started up right away. If we can, but unfortunately I don't have an ID or a match replay for me here, so we are going to go to a quick break. As soon as we can get it up, we will have it for you guys, the second game in this quarterfinal, so make sure you guys stick around. Guile Esports up 1-0 over HTC.
Yeah.